We came to IRI with some key business questions. Just to give you some perspective as far as where we're positioned in the market, Carmex Lip Balm competes against some key competitors in roughly a $600 million category. We're a number 5 player, so we're a challenger brand, and we're competing against some brands that historically would have multi-category scale, and they often have category captain influence across a variety of categories. So we are the underdog, we are the challenger brand, and we knew that in order to try to compete more effectively with this pool of competitors, we needed to take a new approach.
The first thing is engaging early often with key stakeholders. One of the big challenges I see, or missed opportunities rather, is that a lot of times, again, this is a category management or a sales tool, right? And it's a great one. But what that does do is it alienates a whole portion of the organization that can really benefit from this, right? So think about marketing or your innovation groups. It's not to suggest this should replace other research you're doing, but it's a great tool that can help support more in the organization than just your sales and your category management folks. And too often times I see those folks come in for the final presentation and wonder, ask a question that we could have answered if they had been engaged on the upfront when we were defining how the category was looked. So that's key learning number 1. Number 2 is clearly define goals and objectives. I understand that this sounds really obvious here, but if you think the number of times where I get the question, what is my optimal assortment? And that's the only question that I get. And that's a great question, but that's thousands of little questions, right? And so coming into this type of a process with a practical view of not boiling the ocean, but really thinking through what are the actual decisions that I'm gonna make, right? You're not gonna change the whole assortment. There are certain decisions that you're trying to make, and let's focus in on those and then go from there. So coming in with a practical view helps us focus, it helps us wade through all of this data, and it helps us get you results faster, because one thing we always know is you want it faster than it usually takes, right? So that helps everyone. Quality time and project setup. Unlike some of the other things that we do here at IRI, like pricing, where we own most of that POS data, one of the critical elements here, again, is that setup, and that requires a tremendous amount of collaboration between IRI and the client. And getting that right dictates everything else down the road. So I would suggest, setting expectations to say we're going to get this right, and we're going to make sure that it's set up in a way that gets us where we want to go. Anticipate a learning curve. These charts are really pretty, but they're dense. Our technology is great, but there's a lot of information in it. So the expectation that when we deliver that presentation that you're going to have your sales goal and your sales story for Walmart figured out is not a realistic one. So you need to plan time to learn this information so that you can get the most out of it. And that's another area that we typically see as a pitfall when we do some of these projects. And then going back to clearly defined goals and objectives, but hypothesis-driven approach is key. What are you trying to achieve? Focusing your efforts in and around that. And then finally, in the summit theme of personalization, we've got the unique playbook. So you don't need to be a category captain to go and achieve success at retailers, right? You can be someone who is a challenger brand, like Carmex, who with strong data was able to go in and make a very compelling story and achieve results.